Hello, today I'm making a pop-up twirl card for my cousin and her husband who recently had a little baby girl. To make this card you need 2 pieces of heavy cardstock. Since it's a pop-up card, the heavier the cardstock the better. So the first piece of cardstock will be the cover in the back and the second piece will be the inside. So let's start with the inside. I'm working with a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I'm going to fold it in half. It's been pre-scored. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut some arms into the cardstock so this will hold up the element inside. So I've pre-cut everything. And I've also drawn some plans out. I always find pop-up cards are much easier to do when you pre-draw the plans. So here are the 2 arms that are here, and in my card I have cut a 1 3/4 inch arm long that is 1 inch wide. I've scored along the edge just to make sure that the angle of the arm is nice and neat. I've also cut this lovely little scalloped edge. You don't have to do that. You can keep it as a straight edge card, but I've done this as a decorative element in my card. So let us fold the card. So we're going to fold our little arms up. Also in the design, what you need to do is have these little cuts here. And what they'll do is they will actually hold a bamboo skewer. And this bamboo skewer is what is going to twirl the element inside. So, I'll finish folding that. As you notice, bamboo skewer is way too long for this card. And well, it's also got a nice sharp pointy end, which would be pretty hazardous. So what you want to do is cut this bamboo skewer to size. And I've done that already. So this little piece will fit in here. Like so. And you see it actually fits quite nicely and it turns. However, since this is supposed to be a twirling pop-up card, how do we make it twirl? Well, we want to use a piece of string. And I've cut a piece already. I'm just using good old kitchen string. When you use a piece of string and you want to wrap it around the skewer a couple times, so when this card opens and closes, the string rolls and it turns your element. So let's do that. So what you need to do is punch some holes into your card. I'm going to remove the plans here. So I'm just using my good old handy dandy hole puncher. I punched one hole here. This will be where one of the holes for the string to go through. And I'm going to punch one here. There we go. This is as far as my hole punch will reach. Okay, but that's good. Notice they're not perfectly lined up. One is higher than the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to thread our string through the back. And we're going to tape it down. Okay, so you threaded your string through the hole and you've taped it down. And so now we're back on the inside. And what you want to do is loop your string around the skewer a couple times. Make sure you don't cross yourself or else you might end up with a knot. Alright, so here we go. Just pulling it a little bit tighter. Okay, so you've wound your thread around the skewer a couple times, and what you want to do is pass the string through the second hole and tape it down. But before you tape it down, test the tension of the string. You want it to be tight enough so that the skewer turns as the string pulls it. The string is rolling back and forth, pulling the skewer, but you don't want it to be too tight so that it's bowing excessively. When you're happy with the tension, tape it down. And as you are playing with it, you notice that the skewer tends to move back and forth a little bit up and down. What I've done is I've added some paper beads at the end. It's really simple. Basically what it is it is a triangular piece of paper. One has a straight edge, one is at an angle. And what I'll do is I'll glue it one end down to the skewer, and I'll just roll it. And what I want to do is make sure I maintain that straight edge. And you basically are building a wall. There we go. Basically building a wall so that when this turns, it has something to keep it guided in its place. So, basically the mechanics of our Twirl pop-up card are here. Now we need to do the fun part. It's decorating time. So what we'll do is we'll take our heart, which is my element which I'm going to use, and we're going to put it inside. And what we'll do is we'll cap it with a second heart. Go like so. Whatever element you choose to decorate your card with, make sure that it clears this wall. So make sure it's small enough so that it doesn't hit the wall or hit the arms. Right here I have some thread. This thread is going to be tied around my skewer, roughly where I think the heart will exist, because what I'm going to do is have some pretty little threads sticking out from the heart. As it twirls, they should fly around. I've tied some decorative threads around my skewer. I've added some glue to the heart, and I've slid it underneath the skewer and up against it. What I'm going to do is going to add some more glue to this one. I've added a little glue already, but it might be drying out on me. And what I'm going to do is going to place it on top. So then we basically are locking the two elements onto the skewer. Okay, the glue has dried, and now our threads are fastened well in place. I've decorated up the card a little more by adding the definition of cherish here, and I've attached the piece with some brads on the back. Now, let's look at this card in action. Isn't that great? So now, this is the inside. Now that second piece of cardstock we have, we need to use to make the cover. So, here's our second piece. You can attach your card like so inside, and then put the cover on top. My personal preference is to actually cut this piece of cardstock in half. I just find that things move a little bit better when I cut it in half. And I'm going to attach one piece to the front and one piece to the back. And what I will do is make the front hang over the spine just a touch so that it does disguise the fact that there's an open space in the back. So the cover is going to have these lovely little round circles, which I've decorated with various things. Stamps, punches, stickers, and I have this cute little embellishment which will tie it all together. So here's our finished product. We've glued all the pieces together. There you go. I hope you enjoyed today's YouTube video and learned something new. For my cousin and her husband, congratulations on your new baby. I hope you enjoyed seeing how your card was made. Thank you!